NASA astronaut Suni Williams just finished a spacewalk outside the International Space Station. Williams, of course, is one of two astronauts who has been stranded in space since last June, much longer than the planned 1 week-long trip. Today, she was alongside astronaut Nick Hague during the spacewalk, the two spending about 6.5 hours outside working on upgrades and maintenance on the station. And joining us now to talk about it is retired NASA astronaut Leroy Chiao. Leroy, tell us more about this spacewalk, and you're really the person to do it because you've gone on 6 of these. What's it like to get out of the space station, stretch your legs a little bit, and do something like this?
Well, doing spacewalks, or what we call EVA for extravehicular activity, that's kind of like the coolest thing, in my opinion, that you can do in space. You know, of course, getting up in space for the first time, especially, is fantastic. But then if you get to do a spacewalk on top of that, you know, it's just surreal is the word that I use. But you're also working very hard. It's not at all like the movies. It takes a lot of physical effort. You have to be in good shape. You're working against a suit. It's bulky. It's hard to move your fingers and your arms. And what Suni and Nick were doing today was, you know, not too bad. I mean, this was not the most challenging of EVAs, but they are all challenging, but this was not an especially difficult one. They were repairing some thermal blankets for the X-ray telescope, and they were also prepping the landing zone, if you will, for an upgrade for the alpha magnetic spectrometer, which is helping us look for dark matter. So important task for sure. Sounds like everything went very well, and I believe they're back inside by now and probably going through all their steps to clean up their suits and back out of the EVA situation. But looks like everything went really great.
I think an astronaut's version of not so complicated is different than the average person's definition. I will say that, Leroy. We can't ignore the fact that Suni's been stuck up there for 7 months. So has Butch Wilmore. The stay was extended again just last month. You were on the ISS for 6 months. I'm assuming that was a planned deal, but just tell us what it's like.
Sure. Well, I mean, you know, the long duration flight's a lot different than a 2-week shuttle mission. It's what we used to compare, say, like a marathon compared to a sprint. But you know what? If you know when you're coming down, you're kind of mentally prepared for that. In the case of Butch and Suni, of course, they were expecting a 7 to 10 day flight. Now it's going to be, you know, an 8+ month flight. But Butch and Suni are both consummate professionals. They've both flown long duration missions before, done spacewalks. This is certainly not Suni's first spacewalk. And so, you know, we're trained to be adaptable and adjust to the situation, which is exactly what the two of them have done. And they've done a great job of it. So I'm sure they're looking forward to getting back. You know, this was certainly disruptive to their personal lives, their families, their friends. But, you know, they're making the best of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know astronauts like to be in space. That's why they're astronauts. So I guess it makes sense. But overnight, Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin had a historic night launch of its new Glenn rocket into orbit. Can you talk a little bit about why that's critical and what it means for competition against SpaceX, Elon Musk's company?
Sure, you bet. And I'm really happy to see that they were so successful. New Glenn, you know, finally made it into orbit. It's been in the works for a number of years. Blue Origin has been around about the same time as SpaceX, right around 25 years or so. And of course, SpaceX has been very successful for a number of years with their Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and now they're getting ready to launch tonight, flight test number 7 for Starship. And so really exciting stuff happening. It's important that Blue Origin get in there because it's always good to have competition. It's the American way, right? You have competition, and that makes things, you get the best product for the lowest possible prices for the consumers or the users. And SpaceX has been, you know, dramatically brought down the price of a launch by reusing first stage boosters for Falcon and Falcon Heavy. They've demonstrated they can catch the super heavy boosters from the Starship, and they're going to try again tonight, try for the second time. And so it's really going to be a game changer. Payload-wise, the new Glenn is kind of positioned in its capability between Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, so that's kind of a nice place to be. But glad to see that they were successful. They didn't catch the booster. I don't think they really thought they would. They wanted to try. Something didn't go right, but they'll learn from the experience, just like SpaceX did before they finally started capturing the Falcon 9 boosters on a routine basis now.
Yeah, it's cool to watch for sure. Leroy, always great to have you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.